And of course, COVID-19 has taught us a new way to live, a new way to live. We will start this session this morning with a brief safety moment of what to do, what to expect COVID-19, and of course we would take it further. By way of introductions, we have the Communications, Public Affairs and Sustainable Development Director for Lafarge Africa PLC here present, Fola Shande Ambrose Bedeben. Fola, good morning and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Pleased to be here.
Thank you. Our country CEO, Khalid El-Dokani, would also be joining us in a bit. We have Folake Odegbami, who is the head of Health, Safety and Environment at Lafarge Africa, join us. And of course, we'll have the Chief Sustainability Officer, Magali Anderson, also join us. And the reason why we're bringing all these reputable women together to share with you is because they've built a career in science. They've seen it all. You know, whatever you think can possibly happen to a girl in science is what they have experienced. And so we would recognize all of the people or the schools represented here today. We have Laureates College, we have Queen's College, we have Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls, we have Wesley College, we have Cayley College, we have Regan Memorial School for Girls, we have Kiddies Kingdom Private School, and we have Victory School. From Ashaka, we have pupils from Government Secondary School Bajuga here with us this morning. And then we have the Federal Government Girls College Bajuga joining us for this session. And from Mfamosin, we have girls from Akansoko Secondary School, all science girls. Please, can you unmute and give yourselves a round of applause this morning? Please unmute and give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning. The theme for this celebration or this event again is Women Scientists at the Forefront of the Fight Against COVID-19. We have our Head of Health and Safety join us very soon, but before we get to that, we'll be calling on our Communications, Public Affairs and Sustainable Development Director to just share a few words with us, and then we can progress steadily.
Good morning once again. Thank you very much, Titi Lokwe. I'm delighted to be here, delighted to be among our future leaders of tomorrow. Thank you all to your teachers and your parents. Please convey that back to them because we're all part of the support network growing our leaders. I'm delighted to be here. I really am proud and delighted to be part of an organization such as Lafarge Africa, who spends time with the youth in order to encourage, inspire, and empower you all to really excel in those areas, to be quite frankly, where there are not enough of us. So I really want you all to be inspired to ask some really in-depth questions from all our speakers, including our CEO. Ask him questions, ask your teachers questions, and really push yourself. So today is really about inspiring you all, empowering you all, and really for you to really be able to see that there is no limit to what you can be in the future. And as we all see in this world today, COVID, nobody expected this pandemic. We faced it. And I'm delighted to say that the countries across the world that have done exceptionally well in managing the COVID are actually being countries led by women. So really make sure you use your internet, because I'm sure all of you are online, to your advantage. So let it not just be about social media engagement. Actually use the access that you had, because we never had that in our days. Try and make sure that you also use that to really conduct some research and to find and follow those people that will further inspire you. So all the speakers you hear today, look through all the speakers you have today, try and make sure you ask those questions and do some research. We really hope the time you spend with us, you find it valuable, And I look forward to hearing about you in the future and hearing that Lafarge was part of your journey in terms of inspiring you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Fola, for that opening remark. While we wait for the other participants to join us, we would recognize all the participants as they join. We will just share a few tips. And of course, I'm glad that as you're all seated in the room today, you're all wearing your face mask. I know you have your sanitizers with you. I know you are practicing social distancing, as we can see. And, you know, it's just for us to just remind us of all of the things that we know about COVID-19. What are the symptoms to look out for? What are the things we need to do? How do we spread the word? How do we spread the word? Remember, the theme is women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. I'll share 5 quick tips with you, and they'll just be reminders. The first is wear your face mask regularly. We cannot overemphasize that. And the reason is not far-fetched. When you're having conversations, there are droplets that will most likely drop on your skin, on your clothes, you know, when you are in close proximity to the other person you're talking to. And so the face mask would help prevent those droplets from spreading. The second, which is very, very closely related to that, is social distancing. Social distancing is important. Keep about 2 to 5 meters away from the person that is standing next to you. And just a reminder also, when you have your face shields on, your face shields do not serve the purpose of the face mask. So have your face shields and have your face mask on, and that is the way that you can be adequately protected from COVID-19. The third tip I would like to share with you is to wash your hands regularly. Wash your hands regularly. And for this, we'll be engaging, you know, some of the schools. How long are we expected to wash our hands for? Queen's College, anyone from Queen's College would like to answer that question. How long are we expected to wash our hands for?
Seconds.
20 seconds. Please, Queen's College, give yourselves a round of applause. Great, so we're expected to wash our hands for 20 seconds. We're expected to wash our hands for 20 seconds with soap and water. With soap and water. And what is expected of us is to wash in between our fingers, wash beneath our nails, wash up to our wrists under running water. It is very, very important. Now, when you feel sick, or when you feel a slight fever, you have flu, you have cough, what are you expected to do? What are you expected to do? I'll be calling pupils from the room in Calabar. What are we expected to do? What are we expected to do? When we have a slight cough, flu, headache, fever, what are we expected to do? Pupils in Calabar, can you answer, please? Unmute and answer.
Talk.
I'm waiting.
Isolate yourself from those injuries.
I'm waiting. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Calabar. What are we expected to do? Should I throw that open to someone else? Should I throw that open to someone else? Regan, school, would you like to answer the question? Regan. Okay, Queen's College again. What are we expected to do when we feel a slight fever, cough?
When you feel a slight fever, well, when you report to the hospital.
You're expected to report to the hospital. Thank you very much. Thankfully, we have a fantastic doctor who is in the midst today, and she'll be sharing a lot more with us. And finally, there are times that we would have no symptoms at all. We would have no symptoms at all. So when we make trips, whether local or international trips, we're expected to isolate for at least how many days? At least how many days? Wesley Girls Senior Secondary School, how many days are we expected to isolate for? We're expected to isolate for 7 days. 7 days of isolation is what is recommended. And then we're free to go out when we feel no symptoms, no cough, no flu, no headaches, and all of that. Once again, it's the International Day for the Women and Girls in Science. And the theme for the year is Women Scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. We have Dr. Amara Allison in the house. Dr. Amara is a doctor, and I'm sure there are many of us in the room this morning who would like to be a doctor in the future. Dr. Amara was one of the people who identified the index COVID-19 case in Nigeria, and we brought her here to share her experience with us, not only on that front, but also what to expect as a girl in science, what challenges you would likely face, how to overcome those challenges. And Dr. Amara is going to be leading us nicely this morning to a movie that she would expect us all to watch right after this session at our own time. It's an inspirational movie, it's a motivational one, and it is something to inspire action in you girls right after today. Dr. Amara, it's our pleasure to have you in the house this morning.
Thank you for having me, and good morning. Good morning, all. Good morning, and thank you for having me. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can all hear you. The virtual rooms are on mute, and so until we ask them to unmute, they won't. So please speak on.
Okay, all right. So, first of all, I'm very honored. I'm very honored to be a part of this very important and significant day. So, as girls, as women and girls in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, what is expected of you? What challenges do you think you might encounter on your journey or on your path? First of all, as a woman, a lot is expected of you. And there is this impression that the hard work or science is for men and not for women. But that's not true. That's not true. Because if you look at it, since this pandemic has really put forward a lot of women. Take, for instance, Dr. Ola Brown. She's a woman, she's a young lady, and she's the founder of the first air-operated emergency medical services in the whole of West Africa. So, and that was founded by a woman, and she's also an economist as well as a medical doctor. So that goes to show you that as a woman or as a girl, you can be anything that you choose to be. Whether you want to be a scientist, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a mathematician, you can be anything you want to be, and you can make impact from anywhere. All you have to do is you have to work hard. You have to ask for help whenever you need help, whenever you feel that whatever it is you're doing, school work or your vocational work, isn't clear to you, ask for help. Take, for instance, me. I'm also a member of the Medical Women's Association of Nigeria.
Dr. Amara, can I cut you short a bit? Can I
Yes,
cut
please.
you short a bit? I'm sorry. We have our CEO, he just joined.
Good morning, Khalid. Good morning, everyone, once again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us, Khalid. We have a number of schools with us, both also in our host communities as well. And I think just before we invite you, I'll ask you to just read out the schools that we have. But we have a very, very rich and diverse bunch of really, really young future female leaders on the call today, and we're delighted to be spending time with them this morning. So I'll just ask Titi to quickly just mention the schools, and then we'll invite you to give your opening remarks, Ali. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Fola. We have about 10 schools represented here today. We have Laureate's College, we have Queen's College Lagos, Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls, Cayley College, Wesley Girls Secondary School, Regan Memorial Baptist Secondary School, Kiddies Kingdom Private School, Victory School. And from far away, Ashaka in Gombe State, we have girls represented from Federal Government Girls College, Bajoga, and Government Secondary School, Bajoga. And from Mfamosing, we have girls from All Science Girls from the Akansoko Girls Secondary School in Mfamosing, all in our plant at Calabar. And as well, we have one more school, Immaculate Conception Secondary School, and Ikot Efanga Secondary School in Mfamosing. Thank you, Khalid.
Thank you so much, Titi and Fola. I'm really very delighted to have to be with you today. I'm delighted to have young girls in science join us for this commemoration of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science this year. The world is coming to terms with the realities of the global pandemic. Who can help me with the name of the virus?
Coronavirus.
Very good. We normally use the coronavirus as one thing and COVID-19 as another term, but this is really the real challenge that not only in Nigeria, but the whole world we are facing. And definitely there is a big role for you to play as girls scientists in the fight against the COVID-19. Spread the word, use your nose masks regularly, tell those who don't to believe that the virus really exists, and encourage very much the social distancing. Today, we bring you an opportunity to learn from women who were once like you, students with career, with future and aspiration. They were once told it's impossible to succeed in science, sometimes discouraged, didn't get appropriate support, or were even told it's impossible to balance it with other aspects of life. Today, I bring you this charge as a girl in science. You will win and you will succeed. We look forward to you contributing to nation building in the near future. I leave you with this quote by Isaac Newton, one of the world's most famous scientists. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants. I welcome you and wish you an amazing learning experience. Happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. And as a country CEO for Lafarge Africa, I really look forward in the coming years to see some of you as part of the family of Lafarge Africa, as employees of Lafarge Africa, and as leaders of Lafarge Africa. Keep it up. I wish you all the best, and I wish you a great day. And we really look forward to great leaders coming out of you and out of this day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Khalid. That was a fantastic, wonderful, inspirational opening. And I'm sure that the girls in this room do not only feel privileged to be here today, but would have taken some gleanings even from the insights that you've shared this morning. We would move very swiftly to Dr. Amara. Dr. Amara, the floor is yours. You have the mic.
All right. Thank you for having me once again. So, like I was saying, a lot will come to your mind when you wonder, what is STEM? How am I supposed to make an impact as a girl in science or as a girl in STEM? But we have we have so many opportunities right now. A lot of things have moved to information, to technology right now. So that has presented a very, very open opportunity for all of us. And as it is right now, this gap has been noticed, and people that have come before us are putting in a lot of effort in bridging the gender gap in STEM. Now let's take it to the pandemic, the ongoing pandemic. There's been a lot of innovations by women like you and I to help to fight the pandemic. So what role can you play in fighting this pandemic? Like the CEO, Mr. Khalid, said, you can spread the word by informing other people, educating people. Whenever you see people that aren't wearing their nose masks or aren't keeping to the rules and regulations to protect themselves, you can just inform them and teach them about it. And then there are the tools, information tools at our fingertips, like internet, the computer. These are the things that can help you. No, like as I was saying about Dr. Ola Brown, she was once like us. And with women like this, it makes us know that it's possible to be there someday. Another lady, another woman who was a hero is Dr. Stella Adavo. She was the doctor that curbed the spread of Ebola in Nigeria in 2014. She was once a student like you and I, and today she's a notable hero who gave her life for all of us. Then there's something I would like to touch. When we talk about STEM, a lot of us will say, but it's just science, it's just technology, it's just engineering, it's just mathematics. But these are tools that you can use to push yourself forward. Science will bring you to the table, to the high table where decisions, important decisions about the country which you live in are being made. So you can use science as a tool to push you forward, to be able to influence these decisions, to change things that are not favorable to you as a woman and to the country as a whole. Take, for instance, Dr. Dora Akunyili of blessed memory. She was a renowned pharmacist. She was the Director General of NAFDAC before she passed on. But she was also a renowned politician. She was also a renowned humanitarian. So in as much as you are in science, it doesn't mean that you can't affect different aspects of life. With science, you can use that as a tool to influence any aspect of life that you want to influence. It's a way to arm yourself. and prepare yourself to make impact. All right. I don't know, has anybody seen the movie Hidden Figures? There is a movie called Hidden Figures. I would like for us to go back and watch it if we haven't watched it. It's about 3 Black female mathematicians. They were mathematicians. They weren't doctors, they weren't engineers, they were mathematicians. And I think one of them went on to become to get an engineering degree. But these women, it's based on a true life story. Back then, there was racism, and then it was believed that women didn't have a very technical mind. Women weren't sound enough to be good mathematicians, or to be mathematicians, really. And the astronauts, American astronauts who went into space, I think they were trying to come back, and there was a problem with the mathematical equation for their re-entry into space, or into Earth. And so one of the women, somehow she kept working, and she found her way into the big leagues with the men and the mathematicians at the time. And she was the first person and only person to discover the fault in the mathematical equation that they used to calculate their re-entry time. And she fixed it. And with that, it changed the whole narration about women not having sound minds as scientists. So these 3 women, they were Black, and this led them to winning so many awards and setting a path that we could. But they worked with NASA, they worked in NASA as well. So when you look at this, it tells you that you can be anything, absolutely anything you want to be in life. And you can use anything you have as a tool to get you there. So there are other women. There's Professor Francisca Okeke. She was the first vice chancellor of her department in physics in the University of Nigeria. So that is all I have to say today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Amara. Thank you so much. You've shared quite a number of useful insights. Girls can do anything they set their hearts out to do. We can, science enables innovation. That's one of the key take-home for me. Science enables innovation, and we can also still balance science with other aspects of life. Talking about Dr. Ola Brown that you mentioned, she's a medical doctor. She's also an economist, and that's 2 extreme career paths to follow, if you ask me. But thank you for sharing with us this morning. I'm sure some of the girls would have questions. If you have any question, let us drop it in the chat box, and of course we will read it up. And tell us who you're directing your questions at. We'll move very quickly to Folake Odegbami. Folake is also a woman scientist. She's the head of health, safety, and environment at Lafarge Africa, and she does very great work managing the health, the safety, and even our environmental footprints at Lafarge Africa. Folake, thank you for joining us this morning. We look forward to hearing a very beautiful story of how you are succeeding, because you're still succeeding, how you are succeeding, how you overcame challenges from being a girl in science to now a woman in science, and what our girls should look out for as they go on this journey in science. What should they look out for? Thank you, Folake, for joining us.
All right, thank you very much, Titi. Good afternoon, girls. Good afternoon, girls. I think we're all on mute.
Right? Unmute, please. Unmute, just for a second.
You can talk, still here.
Afternoon, girls.
Good afternoon.
How are we all doing today?
We are fine.
Okay, so happy International Day to all of us. I'm quite happy and privileged to be here. And so what I'm going to be trying to do is really just to talk about my own personal journey. So it's trying to tell you as much as I can remember in this little time, how I've come from some years back when I was at your level and age to where I am today, where I'm today the head of health, safety and environment for Lafarge Africa, like my colleague Titi did mention earlier. So my name is Folake Odegbami, like Titi already said. I'm from Abeokuta in Ogun State. And, you know, many years back, I remember when I was in the primary, at the primary level, usually we're not all very certain about what we want to do when you grow up. So a lot of talks about, I want to be this, I want to be that. But I think it was when I got into the secondary school that things became a bit clearer. So my junior secondary school days, you know, the years 1 to 3, we had to do all the subjects. So the funny thing is, for me, the soft subjects like literature in English and even English language happen to be my favorite subjects. Literature in English, because it was like a bonus work for me. I really didn't have to do anything. I've always liked to read, so I read a lot. So it was a class of, we had a lot of books, you know, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, a lot of poetry books, The Arrow of Gods and all the likes, you know, all those popular Nigerian literature books, you know, and that was what really I liked at the time. So it was very easy for me, really, that subject. And so my parents at a point, they were a bit confused and said, okay, really, what do you say you want to be? You happen to be doing the best in literature in English. And that was where I got my A1 also in the WAEC, as it was called back in the days. My father was a medical doctor, is late now. So I think my early influence was to say I wanted to be a doctor because you want to be something like your parents. But then again, my favorite subject, like I said, where I didn't even have to study was literature in English. So by the time I got into the senior classes, and then we had to then choose your path, we were either going to go into the sciences or go into the humanities or go into commercial or, you know, banking and all the likes. So it was very clear for me at the time because I was also very good in all the sciences as well. So it wasn't a problem. It was just that literature, I didn't have to do anything. So, but because I wanted to be a doctor like my father, so it was natural then for me to go into the science classes. So I started on my science classes and all that. So I'm going to probably just still mention the message in this, my story. So eventually, the science classes, mathematics was fine for me, English, physics, chemistry. But then again, as we got into the higher and higher classes, we started to do further maths. So further maths was where I would say the first obstacle came. And there it was struggling a bit. So I needed them to, because it seemed like everything was easy. So I wasn't really putting it too much. But that was the first obstacle to say, now look, I'm struggling here. So my parents then supported, I was taking extra classes and everything. So I was able to go through my secondary school days, you know, so to speak. And at the end of the day also, when we were writing the JAMB, it was still everybody was either going to be, at that point in time, I started forming an opinion. So medicine was number one, like I said, because of my father, but had started developing some of my own interests. So it was, okay, engineering started becoming an attraction to me. And finally, I narrowed down on chemical engineering. So which was ultimately what I then had to study in my university. I was in Obafemi Awolowo University for my bachelor's degree. So what am I saying here? So sometimes we have passion. So like my passion, like I said, even still till today, I like to read a lot. I consider myself an amateur poet. I can write, I can make up things and all of that, you know. But because there was just that greater interest for me to go into the sciences, and eventually even though I started trying to become like my father with medicine, but my own personal interest started coming when I started to read a bit more, okay, what is engineering all about? And so it's all about producing things. You know, you look around us, everything really is a product or a byproduct of science and engineering. And really, so at the end of the day, the message is, if we want a sustainable world, we talk about Nigeria today, we don't have a lot of jobs, the economy is not very good, but we need more and more people to go into the sciences, the STEM subject, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So that really is the only way we can build our country, we can build the economy, we can build the world and all of that. And it's just a testament to say that, look, we have quite a number of female engineers also in our plans. We have the younger ones, we have the mid-experienced one, and then we have some of people like myself. I've worked in the plants as well, even though it's not my full-time job anymore today, but I spent years and years working in our production facilities as well. And here you have women, ladies at the forefront also making things happen. In our business today, we have a female quarry manager, we have mechanical engineers, we have chemical engineers, process, we have production, we have females really everywhere. Forming your thoughts, what really would you like to become? And today we're talking about, there is a great opportunity for us in sciences and technology, in engineering, in medicine. We have seen Dr. Amara today, we have talked about Dr. Ola today. So those are all people that have shown you that it is not difficult. And if you happen to them, because I want to say that some of us also, we may feel like the science subjects are a bit difficult. And like I said, my own example, even though things were a bit easy, but then at a point, further mathematics then became a bit difficult for me. But I really needed to sit up, take extra lessons, talk to a few of my friends as well. And I was able to then overcome that obstacle, because the whole of engineering classes really, your sciences, your mathematics, and even further mathematics must be very, very sound. So there was that little bit of a challenge, but with hard work, I was able to overcome it. I was able to do my engineering degree. I was able to graduate and then continue to work hard and hard. At the beginning, you have to get into the industry, get the experience, learn from senior colleagues, from even your own peers as well. And over the years, things become to get better and better. You begin to do better and better in the field. And again, because like I said, we don't have too many females in that in this sector. In my class of chemical engineering back in the days, I think there were about 10 of us in over 100 students of chemical engineering then. In even cases like mechanical, you probably find one or two in some civil. So it was really, really quite not, it was a bit not quite popular to find a lot of females in that sector. And so this is why we're encouraging you today. So even if you feel that the natural flair is not, it's something that you can still work on to overcome. Once that interest and passion really is there, and that passion, it gets better and better by the time you find it easier and easier to study those subjects, to do your exams and pass those subjects. Where you need help, to also, get the help as well. And the other point that I want to talk about is again about mentorship, because for me, like I said, my initial interest in the sciences and in fact medicine was because of my father. So I wanted to be a doctor, although later I discovered my own personal passion. So I eventually studied engineering. So maybe at this point in time, you have one or two in mind. Maybe for some of us, we have people in our family, in our household who already are in those fields. And so you can then get close to them and ask questions, and then they can also explain to you, they can also help you. I'm happy to say, because even for myself, because I think in my immediate family, I was probably the first people who studied engineering. But since myself, I have 3 cousins now who have become engineers. So I have 2 who are practicing already, one chemical engineer, another civil. I have one, the third one, who is in the final year, again in Obafemi Awolowo University, because simply she just wanted to be like me. So she said, okay, she wants to study chemical engineering too, and she wanted to go to Ife. So, okay, fantastic. And so we talk from time to time. When she has some challenges with some of the subjects, I will speak to her and say, okay, this was really what I had to do at the time. You need to talk to people, have some extra lessons, you know, and all that. So it's also important to have people that we can look up to. So if it's not available, whether in your immediate household, for example, maybe you don't even have a parent, maybe it's somebody who is a friend to your parents, or somebody who is a friend to your sibling, your brother, sister, uncle, and, you know, even a neighbor. So if you've seen people like that, I know, because you understand they are in the sciences, whether they are scientists or they are doctors or they are engineers, and you really also admire, you want to be like them. So I think it's also important to find a way. And let me say here very quickly, we have to do that safely. So don't go and talk to strangers, please, because it's a very strange world as well. So if you want to engage or have a discussion with somebody who is not an immediate, safe member of your family, get your parents involved and say, okay, maybe it's somebody who is your parents' friend, and say, okay, you know, daddy or mommy, I see Mr. A or Mrs. B who happens to be in this industry, and I really would like to be like them. And so they can then organize that meeting for you. So you can really have that discussion with them. They can help you to talk to you. I know some organizations also allow people to come and visit. So you see what a typical day looks like, a day in the life of an engineer, a scientist. You know, if you have opportunity for things like that, it will continue to grow that interest and passion in you, so that you can really tackle whatever obstacle that may come your way to becoming that scientist or that doctor or that engineer that you want to be, or the mathematician that you want to become, or the physicist that you want to become. So the final message is we need more and more people in the sciences, and especially in females coming into that industry. The opportunities are there, I tell you. You have every opportunity to be successful, like your males, your brothers or sisters or fathers or uncles as well. That opportunity also is there for you to really, really succeed. So work hard. Where you have one or two subjects where you are struggling, get help. And then finally, have somebody who already is in that industry that you admire. Look closely, your family, your neighborhood, and get a safe adult who you trust, who looks after you, to organize the meeting so that you can really talk to these people. You can ask questions. They can also guide you, so that maybe 10 years from now, you can also be in this position where you can continue to then mentor the next generation of girls that are coming. So that's my message today. I wish you all the very best. Enjoy the day, and over to you, Titi.
Thank you so much, Folake. That was a very brilliant one. And there are questions rolling in already. Please, can we unmute and give Folake a round of applause? Let's unmute and give Folake a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great, great. So there's a question here, Folake, for you. The question is from Victoria, Laureate College. Were you at some point discouraged by close ones? People close to you, family, friends, not to be a scientist? And how did you overcome that challenge?
Okay, so I'll go back to my family, because my father, like I said, was a doctor. My mother was an accountant, a banker by profession. So I have two people on different ends. My mother was more, although nobody really forced me, but you know, when parents are, oh, okay, you want to be a doctor, but then my mother was like, accounting too is very nice. You probably will make more money if you work in banking than, you know, in the past, doctors were not really very rich. So there were more executives in the banking world making money. So there was always that back and forth in the head. Oh, I want to be rich. So maybe banking is where the money is. But then again, I have that passion for sciences, and that's what I wanted to be. Like I said, eventually, even though my first interest was I wanted to be like my father, but along the line, my own personal knowing myself, when I started to know myself more, understand my capability more, I eventually settled for engineering. And if I have to do it all over again, I probably will still do the same, except maybe the word is a bit different. And so maybe the title of the engineering may be different at the time. So there was that conflict of whether to go into economics or accounting, because like I said, I was equally good in most of those subjects. Even literature and English was my best. But ultimately, I saw the need for, we have to produce things. Production, that was my attraction to engineering. It's about making things. It's about putting things together, making things come alive. And so when you look around the house, as a chemical engineer, I would say we are the creators. So we look around, everything really is a product of chemical engineering. So at the end of the day, it's about that passion. If you see the need that you have a big role to play in the world, you can make a difference, you can contribute to it. We will not all be inventors and make things, but at least build upon some of the things that have been done. Along the line, if you have inspiration to create your own stuff as well, you create it. But science really gives you that platform. So if you have that average aptitude to be able to do it and you put some hard work into it, surely you can achieve that.
Wow, thank you so much for Folake. That was quite insightful. 3 takeaways for me, and I'm sure the girls are also taking notes, not just listening. The first is find your passion. The second is know when to get help. Know when to get help. Sometimes we just have to tell ourselves the truth. Know when to get help. I mean, Folake shared her experience concerning further maths, and she had to get extra lessons. She had to do, a few other things to overcome that challenge. And then she mentioned the need for mentoring. Find a mentor, someone close to you. Ensure that you build a relationship. And from the final question, from Folake's answer to that question, on how to overcome challenges, especially when the discouragement is coming from close people, family, friends, and all of that. My response, my take home for that is, what is your motivation? What is your why? Why have I chosen this path? Why am I choosing this career? Know what your why is. Always write down your notes. Your why. What is my motivation? What will keep me here when all else fails? It is important that we pay attention to those. Thank you very much, Folake. We have a short video, but before we get on to that video, I would like to recognize again, we have the MD of our Northeast operations, Ashaka Sem, in the house. Mr. Ibrahim Aminu, please unmute yourself. And just cheer the girls up this morning. Just charge them a bit. 2 minutes, Mr. Ibrahim Aminu.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Very good, Titi Lope. Good morning, all. Girls, good morning and welcome to this very important forum. We are very much happy to have you, where we will help you, our children, and the country as a whole on how to shape your future as well as the future of our great country, Nigeria. Like we all know, we are either directly or indirectly a product of science. We all have our different backgrounds, but here in particular, we work for a cement plant, and it's mainly engineering based. And whether we like it or not, I mean, we have to have this interaction with science from our childhood till date. Personally, I have been an accountant by career, but of course, majority of my colleagues are engineers and other science-based subjects. So there is no way we will not interact with science. And therefore, for some of you that have passion for science, we are here to encourage you. And like you heard from my colleagues, it's very, very important that you know from today that you can become anything you want to be in life. And this is the right time to start thinking. You are still young and the opportunities are bound for you from this age. Like Folake and the rest have mentioned, it's very, very important for each and every one of you to have mentors. When you have mentors, you will have a very, very good guide over your life beginning from today. You will make less mistakes. You will have a very focused life, even though sometimes we all know it's good to make mistakes because when we make mistakes, I mean, we have the experience and we probably not repeat that same mistake. But it's very important to have a mentor who will say, this is the right thing to do, this is not the right thing to do. And then you find that things really become much easier for you in terms of studies, in terms of career, and then in terms of even other choices of life. So we will continue to be your mentors and don't hesitate, I mean, to talk to any one of us, to talk to organizations where you need this guidance. I will be more than happy to really help. We wish you the best in your careers, the best in life, and we wish you will really be the future leaders of our great country, Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that charge. Thank you, Mr. Aminu. We would like to recognize Engineer Deborah, she's in the house. Just to also mention to us that from Ashaka, Gombe State, we have students from the Federal Government Girls College, Bajuga, and we also have students from the Government Science Secondary School in Bajuga represented here this morning. Dr. Deborah, would you like to say hello? I know you're in the house, but I mean, for all the girls in the other virtual rooms, just say a quick hello to them and we can move on. Please unmute yourself. We can't hear you. You are still muted. You're still muted. Great.
Hello.
Great. Yes,
okay,
you're on.
Okay. My name is Engineer Deborah Adaladi. I'm a process engineer here in Ashaka. Presently, I'm the environment manager for Ashaka plant. I started as a graduate trainee in the year 2015. I joined Ashaka with six of my colleagues. They were all men. I was the only female among them. So we started as a graduate trainees, and then I graduated from University of Maiduguri from chemical engineering department, where I studied chemical engineering. I really want to welcome you all. I'm so happy to see you all girls here in science, technology. I really want to encourage you that it's really, really a good one to be unique, because I know most of people out there, they are thinking of, okay, being in business, admin, accounting, but my story, my engineering story started right from secondary school. I remember when all my colleagues were saying, I want to be an accountant, I want to be a banker, I want to be a medical doctor. Well, I thought of what can I do, something unique. I said, okay, I want to be an engineer. So they all look at me, engineer. Nobody said engineering. So, but I really want to tell you that you really can make it, you really can do it. It's something that is so passionable and something that if you put it in your mind, you can definitely do it. So I'm so happy to see you girls. Wherever I see girls in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that's STEM, I'm so happy to really tell them that, okay, I was once in this line, and look at me, I'm doing it. I'm proudly being an engineer, and I'm so happy with what I'm doing. So thank you very much. You're all welcome. And I want to charge you that, okay, this is your day, because we are marking today as International Day for Women and Engineer and Girls in Science. So this is really your day to encourage you, to motivate you, to really tell you that you people can do it. So there is no any obstacles, there is no anything, any limit that what will limit you in achieving what you want to do. So you people can really do it. So thank you very much. You're welcome to Ashaka.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Engineer Deborah. And we have a question here from Vivian Fowler, but we would keep that question and come back to it. We have a short video. I want us to take the learnings from this video. It's very interesting, very short, but interesting. And we will talk about the key points, the key learnings for us before we move on to the final speaker who would be joining us shortly. So stay tuned, get your pens and take the notes. Can we have the sound come on, please?
Agnes, you might need to share from your end. There's some technical difficulties on my own end.
Stay with your brother. Is the pharmacist in here? I'm looking for 10 liters of Ligroin.
You won't get those stains out of that dress. Better buy a new one.
It's not for my dress. It's for my carriage.
Are you trying to poison your horses?
Do you have 10 liters or not?
Who found that video as interesting as I did? Who found the video as interesting as I did? Great, great, great. We'll take a few learnings and then we would invite Magali, who just joined, to speak to us. So I would call three schools. Laureate's College, one learning from that video. Baptist Girls, and Vivian Fowler. So we start with you, Laureate's College. One learning, please unmute and have one representative speak on your behalf.
The woman in the video, my name was Brenda, and from what I saw, I think she had a little problem with her because she was in, and she hit herself because she believed she would fix it. And her fixing it was, I think she's the role model to the other little girl that was there. So that's what
Thank you. Please, let's give her a round of applause. She said she believed in herself. Let's give her a round of applause. Can we unmute and give her a round of applause?
Please.
Great. Okay, over to you, Baptist Girls. A representative from Baptist Girls.
A representative from Baptist Girls.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go on. Yes, we can hear you.
The lady believed in herself, irrespective of the way people were looking at her. She did not care. She did not care. She entered into the place and she went to find what she wanted. She was not discouraged, or she was not discouraged of the way the men were looking at her. She was confident in what she was doing.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Let's give her a round of applause. You know the interesting thing about that comment is that there were quite a number of distractions and discouragements. So many distractions, so many discouragement. I recall when the young girl said she saw, a witch is coming, a witch is coming. And there was actually a scene where someone was shutting his window. That is to show to us that, that is very, very instructive. We would encounter closed doors, we would encounter shut windows at us at different stages, but the lady Betha kept on going. She didn't get distracted. She was focused. She even went into where men would be. She went into the pharmacy, she saw people drinking, eating, and she went straight to the pharmacist. That's a very good one. Finally, I think the last school is Regan Girls. Regan Girls. A representative from Regan Girls. Okay, maybe I'll call someone from Federal Government Girls College, Bajoga. What was your key learning? Someone from Federal Government Girls College, Bajoga.
Okay, so what I learned is that she didn't give up. Even when she didn't find the liquid or whatever, I guess that liquid, she didn't find it there, but she still didn't give up.
Great, she didn't give up. Let's give her a round of applause. Beautiful. Fola, I'll hand over to you. We have Magali on the call now. Fola, looks like you're on mute. We can't hear you. A minute for Fola to join us, please. The downsides of technology.
That's why we need more women in technology.
Good morning. Good morning. No, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. We're in the office. So, and I'm keeping a social distance. Thank you so much, Magali, for joining us today. Girls, I'm delighted to introduce our Chief Sustainability Officer, and she's going to share a lot of insights, nuggets, and I hope you all are ready to ask her so many questions. On that note, over to you, Magali. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Fola, and thank you, Titila. And good morning, ladies. Good morning. You know, I remember when I was your age, and I was thinking, what do I want to do as a job at university? And I know at that time, you know, we didn't have all this technology, we didn't have internet and so on. And of course, finding out what you wanted to do in life was complicated. And I thought, you know, what I really want to do in life is have an impact in the world. I really want to do something that makes sense. And then I thought, well, I guess science makes sense. So I went on to become an engineer. I did 5 years of study. I've become a mechanical engineer. I was the first one in my family to do that. I had no one to mentor me, etc. So it was quite a difficult choice. But I found a lot of support within my university when I was there, and it was great. And then when I finished my degree, I was like, okay, so what do I do now? Fine, I have a degree, this is fantastic. And what I wanted, like I said, I wanted to have an impact, and I wanted to change things, and I wanted to travel. So I was offered a job by a company called Schlumberger in Nigeria. So actually my first job at 22-year-old was to come to Wari, you know, in the Delta. And I spent 5 years there working on an offshore rig. I was the first woman. They had never seen a woman on an offshore rig in Nigeria at that time. Every rig I went to, people were asking me, who are you? What are you doing here? And I was like, I'm the engineer. I'm the one who comes to make the measurements. And really it was a bit complicated at the start because people were wondering, why do we have a woman doing that job? But very soon, what was so interesting is that people got used to me being there, and they started to really treat me like an equal. Like if I was a man, same thing. And they were just looking at what was my technical competency. At that point, being a man or a woman didn't make any difference. So I really enjoyed it for 5 years doing that. And then I spent another 15 years with Schlumberger, or even a bit more, in fact. And I actually went up the ladder, so I started having more and more responsibilities. Most of the job I had, I was quite a pioneer. I was quite the first woman to do it. And if I had to say, how did I go up those ladders? I think my biggest enemy was myself. It was every time I was offered a job, I was like, I can't do it. No woman has done it before me. I can't do that. But then, of course, I had to remind myself, why can't I do it? How, you know, you were talking on the feedback for the video before, you were talking about the self-confidence of that lady and how she was pushing. And I think it's something as women is not always natural. So we really need to learn how to really push ourselves and convince ourselves that we are good, that we can do it, because it's not always natural. And if you don't have people around you telling you, sometimes it can be difficult. But we can all do it. And that's how I went up my career step by step. I I also had a lot of support, a lot of people supporting me. Like I said, once you pass the first shock, which is, why do we have a woman here? Then people are really happy to have a woman because it brings diversity. You know, what you bring, and it's another message that is really important, is you have to think, you have to stay yourself, remain yourself. Because what's good in a team is when it's mixed, and the reason why we want mixed teams is because we want people to think differently. So if everyone thinks the same way, it's not very interesting. We're not progressing, we're not innovating. And in science, what we want to do is innovate. And this is why what you really want is stay yourself, stay with your conviction, with your leadership style once you become a leader. And this is how you will change things. So I spent, like I said, many years. I went back to Africa, but not to Nigeria. Well, I went back to Nigeria many times as a visit. I think I was there. We met several times with Paula during my visits. But I was the general manager for Angola. So I was the general manager for the entire company. Then I became the European manager, still with Schlumberger. So I had all these roles. And again, most of the time, it was roles that I felt completely out of my reach, completely new. But I always knew that I would have support in my team and I could do it. 4 years ago, I arrived in Lafarge-Holcim. And this is when I became the head of health and safety. And 1 year ago, I became the head of sustainability with being part of the executive committee, which is the direction of the company where all the decisions are taken. And again, it's not like I am a professional in sustainability, but it was a challenge that I thought I had to tackle because I am an engineer. And in our industry, the cement industry, sustainability is very technical. So I knew I could do it. And since I've been in the sustainability role, we have done a lot of things. We have now put a net zero pledge. We are the first in our sectors to do that because, again, what I was thinking was, how do I make an impact? How do I change things? And it's always what I have in mind. On my private life, I actually met my husband in Nigeria. He's from New Zealand, and I met him on an offshore rig. So not very romantic at all. When I met my husband, I was actually wearing coveralls, hard hats, and boots. So I thought, well, if he fall in love with me when I'm dressed like that, he will always love me all his life. And we are still married. We have 2 daughters who are older than you. One is 24, one is 26. And one is an engineer and one did the business school. So I was trying to influence both of them to be engineers, but I only managed with one. But I'm extremely proud of them. And I'm extremely proud because they are very happy girls. So they're happy in their skin, they're happy in what they are doing, independently of the degree, independently of the school. And for me, it's really a great success because the fact that I could do my career and always go for challenges, but I could also educate my daughters at the same time was great. Of course, I didn't do it alone. I had fantastic support from my husband. I think it would have been very difficult without his support. And I was always getting support around because with my career, I couldn't spend that much time with my daughters. So I had to find tricks to do it. I had to find moments where I could spend. But what I can say, so the oldest one is 26. What I can say 26 years later is that it worked. So I'm the true example that you can handle both. So I don't know, Paula, if you wanted me to talk more, or maybe I would stop there and open for questions. So if you want me to elaborate more on some of the points.
Questions. We have one question. Put your questions in the Q&A box. We have one question reserved specifically for you, Magali, and I'll read that out. It's from a girl from Vivian Fowler College, Memorial College for Girls. And she asks, what advice would you give concerning independence and confidence to a girl who will be the first in a family or community to do something influential? An example such as going to university abroad or even going to university in general. Confidence and independence.
I think you really need to believe in yourself. And I think, you know, when I was doing all these jobs, when I was the first one to do this job, and like I said, I was the first engineer in my family and the first one to live. It's a village in France where I come from. You know, I was expected to spend my whole life there and get married to someone from the village. So I left and I married someone from the other side of the world. It was very new. You have to be very confident and you need to find friends who will support you. Because a lot of people will try to tell you that what you do is not right. But they don't say it for your own good. They say it because, first of all, it's too new for them. So you push them out of what we call your comfort zone. So you are bringing something completely new and they're not used to it. And they're like a bit like they were with me. What is that woman trying to do? But also, some people will be jealous because you will have the courage to do things that themselves did not have the courage. And you know, when that happens, people prefer to try to drag you down because they don't like to see other people's success when themselves they don't have that success. And so it's important that you feel comfortable with yourself and you always remind yourself you are doing the right thing. So don't let anyone drag you down. I will give you another example. When you have babies, a lot of people think that the place of a mother is with her kid at home, so she should stop work. And I never thought that myself. I never thought that because, well, I love my kids, but I think I would have died if I was staying at home with them because I need other activities. You know, I couldn't just stay with a baby. I can't really talk with the baby. It would have been very hard for me. But what I was bringing to my daughters is the external world into the house. I was bringing them adventure, inspiration. And today, there's actually studies that show that kids that were raised by a working woman, so the girls develop better. They do better career later, etc. So don't let anyone ever tell you what you are doing is wrong. If you know that what you're doing is right, just go ahead and do it and try to, but it will help if you have a really good friend who is helping you to support you. It's morally you need support because you need to be strong when you have a lot of people telling you that what you do is wrong.
Thank you. I'm sure the girls are taking notes. We'll leave a few minutes for us to take more questions, and we would like to hear from the men. So we want you to direct a few questions to our CEO. He also has a man's perspective, and trust me, it's always helpful to get the balance. It's always helpful. I would advise us all to turn our cameras on for a quick picture. And then we have a fun activity. We have just one fun activity after the pictures, and then more questions for us, and then we can call it a day. Can we have our videos turned on, please, for a quick picture while we prepare our questions?
Well, Titi, until the questions are getting ready, I want to personally thank Magali for the participation. It's a great pleasure and very inspiring woman, very inspiring mother, very inspiring leader in our Lafarge Wholesome organization. And truly and sincerely on behalf of our future leaders, women sitting there studying science, we promised them that we are one of the organizations in Nigeria that would be more than happy to see some of them as our employees, part of the family, and part of our future leaders as well. So thank you so much, Magali, for your time. And we really look forward on your support. And we need to keep these events, sessions, gatherings up and running. And we need all collectively to inspire our young generation to find a better opportunity for the future. Thank you, Magali, very much.
Thank you, Ale. That was a great pleasure. I absolutely, truly enjoyed talking to the younger generation. It's rejuvenated me. Something you might want to share is, you know, when I write a blog and there are some articles where it's from a mother to a daughter, which is advice I give to my daughter, sorry, I have two. It's more when you start work, so it's a bit later. You will have to wait a little bit. You are not at work yet, but it's really, I'm trying to help with that blog, young ladies to gain the confidence I was talking about and to keep that, to be sure that they are doing the right thing. So, you want me to stay another few minutes for questions, or you want
Yes,
me to
please
go?
stay for a few questions. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay, good morning. Thank you for organizing this. Please, how have you been coping in the area of expertise in a man's world?
So
how have you been
I would like to
coping?
return that question. Why do you think I would be less expert than a man? You see, this is exactly stereotype that you have to fight. You have to fight your own stereotype, your own bias. I am an engineer. I qualified like a man. So why should I be less of an expert? So yes, one thing is that when they first see you, they don't necessarily think of you as an engineer, but you just do your job. And once they see you doing your job, they think, oh, well, she knows what she's talking about. She's an engineer. So really don't think because you're a woman, you should be less technically good than a man. We are as good. And you know, I don't know for Nigeria, but in a lot of countries, when you look at the baccalaureate, I'm not sure if you say baccalaureate in Nigeria or if you say A-level results, in math and science, usually the girls score really, really well. So don't let your bias overcome you.
There's another question. Thank you, Magali. This is from Kimberly, Laureate College. She said, were you at any time bullied in the field? Bullied?
So I won't say bullied. I was a little, some people were questioning me, like really a bit like what, so some, maybe because I'm strong, I didn't consider it a bully, but you know, something I was being careful is you have to make the difference between what happened to you because of who you are or because you are a woman. So when I went to Nigeria, I was only 22. I was very young. And I think any young man would have also been questioned like me. They were really wondering what was this young person going to an offshore ring, doing this, doing that. So I think a lot of this, when people were challenging me, I think it's more because I was a young person than because I was a woman. And you always need to keep that in mind. Sometimes we feel like, oh, why do they say that to me? No, only because you're a young person and people question it, which is almost normal.
Thank you so much.
I think also it's very important and here because one big mission of our communities is really to promote gender diversity. Bullying is not only against females. Bullying is a general wrong practice, like discrimination. When you discriminate, you don't discriminate because men and women, you discriminate because generally there is a wrong mindset in the people who do this. Bullying is the same thing. Don't take bullying as it's something specific against females. Bullying is a wrong practice that happens against men and women at the same level from people who does not really appreciate successful people. So don't take it personal. And I think it's a general bad habit that we all need to fight without really taking it on whether it's against females or male. Both sexes face bullying, whether on school level, education level, work level, and we all need to work together to fight bullying in general without really being discriminating, whether it's between men and women.
Oh, thank you for that insight, Khalid. I have another question, and I think the questions are just rolling in. I'll direct this to Folake. What would you advise a girl whose parents do not want her to study any science field?
So, you know, I think, just like I said earlier, the thing about studying science really is that passion, the belief in yourself that you can do it. So you may not be 100% again, like I said, in terms of the aptitude. So you don't look at, okay, because I don't have all A's in all of the science subjects, and so I can't. So there could be obstacles every now and then. But that firm belief in yourself that I can overcome the obstacles, I can put in the hard work to do whatever it takes to pass my exams, to succeed. So that has to be there. So once that personal belief really is there, so it's just about that position to convince the parent. So I want to believe the parent. So maybe they feel like your ability. Can you hear me now, Titi?
Yes, yes, better now.
Okay, so I'm saying that, so I don't want to believe that the parent just don't want you to study sciences. So maybe because the parents know a little better, so they look at your ability and they feel like maybe you're not quite optimal, and maybe you would do better in this other area. So maybe that's the fear upon where the parents are coming from. So the onus then is on you to be able to demonstrate that, yes, I can do it. Even where there may be one or two areas that I need to work hard, overcome the challenges, I'm ready to do that hard work. I will be able to overcome the challenges. And so if you're able to have that discussion with your parents in that light, convince them about your passion, convince them about your ability to overcome obstacles. I want to believe that our parents wish us well, and they will be able to key into that dream and give you all the support that you need to succeed.
Okay. Magali, can you share a few insights still on that?
Yeah, I think like any obstacle, you know, I had to, when I was trying to convince my management to do the PET, it's almost the same. You need to understand why they don't want you to do study. And parents love their children. So if they don't want you to study, it's certainly because they're afraid. They're afraid that maybe you will have problems. They're afraid that maybe it will be complicated, or maybe they're afraid of losing you. That you will, like me, you know, because my parents don't see me as much as if I was still living back in my village. Once you understand why they're afraid, you can really try to show that they don't need to be afraid. Like Polake just explained, like you can really show, first of all, that you have what it takes to do the study. Maybe you can show some role models, some other women who have done it, to convince them that you won't be the first one, there have been others. And it's really reassuring them. But another option maybe is to have your teacher talking to your parents to show that you have the capability that can help them feeling better. It's really, if they don't want to do it, it's certainly because they're afraid. So you need to understand why they're afraid and make them feel good about that.
Thank you, thank you. Ibrahim would like to share from a man's perspective. Ibrahim, kindly unmute the mic.
Okay, thank you very much, Titi. I would like to share from the perspective of the father who has got some daughters. Yeah. Incidentally, majority of my kids are girls. First, second one are both girls, and the last one too. And our first daughter, when she was growing up, she was still very young. She asked me, Daddy, are you sure you want to take me to that school I wanted to go? I told her I wasn't quite sure, but why were you asking? Why are you asking this question? She said, Daddy, there's a boy who is very intelligent in that school, and I want to make sure that I beat him. I said, okay, when I decide, I will let you know. Finally, I decided, and she went to that school. During her first time, the principal of the school said, I mean, she wasn't sure if she would let my daughter study additional mathematics, that is further maths. But I mean, we all sat down as a family and talked to the principal, who was an expatriate, to say, we feel this girl can do it, but I mean, you have to give her the opportunity. And the principal said, okay, I will let her do further maths, but on one condition. If she doesn't meet up, then she will have to drop. We said, fine. And this girl, within a month, 2 months, I mean, they called me from her school and said in their further maths exam, she actually came tops. You know, she was the best student in further maths. And this is a girl who the principal thought was not even going to be able to make it, not to talk of going to the tops, you know. So, I mean, this girl believed in what she was doing. She believed in herself, you know, and she did very well. And as a matter of fact, she lost only about 3 marks in that exam out of 100. And that was because she mistakenly jumped part of the question. She would have gotten 100%, you know. And this is a girl who the principal thought was not going to be able to make it. I mean, at the end of the day, she did well in her school certificate exam. And then she went on to the university to become a first-class graduate, you know, in computer science, you know, and immediately went further to do her master's, again with distinction. So, I mean, like we said from the beginning, you can be whatever you want to be, but from the onset, you have to have that conviction that I can make it, I can do it. And you have to try to convince your parents as well that you can do it. I mean, this relates to the question one of you asked, trying to make your parents believe that you can do science or you can do this or you can do that. So it's you that should also do your best, I mean, to try to convince your parents that I'm going to do it, and you give them reasons why you feel you can do it. I'm sure your parents will support you realize your dreams. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. We'll pause briefly to take a quick picture. Let us put our cameras on, please. Let's put our cameras on. We're taking pictures now. There are a few other engagements that need to happen right about now. And then we'll take some other comments and our fun activity and call it a day. So all cameras on. Yes, thank you all. Thank you all. The program is not over yet. Magali, there's just one more question for you, and we would appreciate that you oblige this in just 90 seconds. So we would ask the team at Ashaka to unmute. There's a girl there who wants to target a question at you. Ashaka, make it very brief in 15 seconds, and then we get Magali to respond and would kindly have her excused. Unmute, please. Okay, if that is not coming on.
My name is Stella Adavo. I have a question that says, what advice can you give to those girls, most especially that has the wrong impression that says girls' education, women's education ends in the kitchen?
I mean, it's hard to give an advice to a girl who already had that impression, because it's more how she convinces others. But I think this is exactly why this initiative that I was so happy to participate with the Woman in STEM is so important. Because why would a young girl think that her place is in the kitchen? It's because that's a role model she has. If all the women around her are women at home, she thinks that's what her future is. But if she starts seeing women like me, like all the women that we have around the panel today, and she understands that there is another future, then she will be tempted. So she needs to see role model. She needs to see person who will inspire her and show her that there is other things she can do in life. Of course, if she really wants to go to the kitchen, she's free to do so. But it's important to show her there are other options in life than the one she has seen. And then hopefully she will maybe change her mind.
Great, thank you so much, Magali. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will be leaving now. Have a great end of the session, and I hope that my stories help some of you girls, and that will be fantastic. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Magali. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gradually wrapping up. We'll be done in 5 minutes, not later than 5 minutes. Two things. Dr. Amara is going to share a personal story of triumph from failure. But before we get to her, I want just one confident girl to nominate herself for this activity. We spoke about confidence, we spoke about braving all odds. So I want just one confident girl to nominate or volunteer herself from any of the schools. The first person to send a message in the chat box is the person that I'll pick for this activity.
We don't have a chat box.
No. I'm calling someone from our Infamosing plant. Brenda, I know that you are there, so please get someone from Immaculate Conception Secondary School to do this activity. Okay, so we have someone from Queen's College. We have someone from Queen's College. So who is the person? Can you give me her name? On mute, please. Give me her name. On mute, you're still muted. Abdul Pupolola. Okay, so Pupolola, this is your class. For international, please let's all have our devices on mute. All devices on mute except for Queen's College. Pupolola, your task is very simple. Laureate College, please go on mute. The theme is women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. So Pupolola, I want you to say that 5 times without blabbing.
Women scientists at the forefront against the fight of COVID-19. Women scientists.
Hold it. Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Say that 5 times without blabbing.
Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Women scientists at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19.
Wow. Round of applause. Let's all unmute and give her a round of applause. Thank you, Pupolola. We have a gift for you. You would get a book from us through WTech. You will get a book from us. Thank you for that. We have a short story of triumph over failure that Dr. Amara will be sharing with us. And on that note, we'll be calling it a day today. So Dr. Amara, over to you, and we'll be done in 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick one. This session has been very enlightening, but there's something I want to add. In all of this, we've talked about encouraging ourselves, encouraging the girls, but then there's something that's very important to note. You could have failures, you could have obstacles or challenges that you may fail at the first try, on the first try, or even the second or the third try. But I want you to know that as long as you are convinced that this is what you want to do, it only just means that you are one step closer to achieving that thing. Take, for instance, when I was in school, in my 3rd year, when I wrote my second MBBS exam, I passed one course and then I had to repeat the class. So we're 46 of us that had to repeat the class. It was embarrassing. I did not want to continue. I told my parents, I said, I'm buying a change of course form. I will not study medicine again. Medicine is not for me. And my dad said, what? You must study medicine, and I felt really bad having to go back to class to study with my juniors. But then there was something that kept driving me. I said to myself, I've started this and I have decided to do this, so I might as well give it my best, and I put in, it doesn't mean that I didn't feel scared or I didn't feel pressured. Yes, I did, but I found support. I asked for help. And when we wrote that exam, out of the 46 of us that had to repeat the class, I was the only one that passed. And it was the win for me was, it was so big because I had failed at this thing. I believed, or rather I thought that I would fail again. I was scared, but I believed in myself and I gave it another shot and I passed. So when you get to a difficult point on your journey or your path and you feel like I'm failing or I am going to fail again, don't. Just keep pushing yourself and keep believing in yourself. It just means you're one step closer to your breakthrough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we would like to appreciate Khalid, our CEO. He's fully sold to sustainability, especially from a very young age. Thank you, Khalid, for staying through despite your very busy schedule. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Fola, also for your support and your steer for the leadership. Thank you, Folake and Dr. Amara. It's been a fantastic and wonderful session with you. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, from all the way from Ashaka, is also here in the room, and thank you for your contributions. We want to thank all the girls here present today, from Laureate's College to Queen's College, Vivian Fowler, Cayley College, Wesley, Regan, Victory School, Federal Government Girls College, Bajoga, and Government Science Secondary School, Bajoga, and of course, Government Secondary School, Ikotefanga, Government Secondary School, Akansoko, Immaculate Conception Government Secondary School. Thank you all for joining us. And we want to thank our partners, Women in Technology, Oreoluwa Lesi and the team. You've been very, very wonderful. Thank you for working with us to pull this through in short. It was just a short time and we could have this done. Thank you all for your contribution. And to you girls, this is our chat to you. Anything is possible as long as you set your minds to do it. Thank you, and happy International Day for Girls and Women in Science. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and bye.